Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and this coffee shop on this woke college campus kicks out someone for wearing a hat. You can guess what kind of hat he's wearing, and you can guess the kind of people that tried to kick him out. And now he gets to go on Fox News to take his revenge. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have the cure to Biden inflation and Harris economics, but more on that later. Now, let's dive in.
A group of conservative college students kicked out of their campus coffee shop for wearing Make America Great hats again. Well, the reason, apparently they violated the so-called safe space policy. You heard some of the conversation there. Campus reform correspondent and Fordham University student Aaron Spring was one of those students, and he joins us now live. Aaron, thank you so much for coming in early this morning and joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we were just discussing right before this segment began whether or not you can wear your hat. Yes, you can wear your hat here, but apparently there at that coffee shop you can't. Is that what you were told?
Well, yes, the people who were wearing the Make America Great Again hats were told to leave simply because they were wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and they were told to leave after they had already patronized the coffee shop and bought coffee. You know, and after they were kicked out, a few people actually tried to attack me for my USA hat, but I'm a New Yorker. I stand my ground. I wasn't leaving.
So explain what kind of coffee shop this is. This is a student-run coffee shop, and it's on campus?
Yeah, it's a student-run coffee shop. It's a club, and it's on the university campus. And it prides itself in being a safe space and saying that all are welcome to their coffee shop. So long as, of course, you have the same views as those who run the coffee shop, so it seems.
Yeah, but so when they mention safe space, there are some specific groups that they talk about being safe to come there, right?
Well, they not specifically, but in terms of who's not welcome there are, I guess, people who support Donald Trump and people who support the Make America Great Again movement, as we were directly quoted as saying we violated their safe space. So apparently it's not a safe space for those types of people.
Yeah, I understand they have some safer space rules, though. They have do not make assumptions about someone's gender, their sexuality, their race, class, or experiences. They also say, no racism, no sexism, no homophobia. But you can't be conservative, right?
Right. Don't get me wrong. Some of the people in there were very nice. Some of them were very open-minded and welcomed us. But the people who ran it, and the president specifically of that club, did not tolerate us, and as you saw, they kicked us out. They called us fascists. They called us Nazis. They were not tolerant of our views simply because we were conservatives.
And here's what Fordham had to say. They did give us a statement. They said that there is no university safe space policy, nor one that excludes any members of Fordham community from any public spaces on the basis of their political views. The university is still investigating the incident, and students who may have violated university code of conduct will be met with the appropriate student conduct process. Does that satisfy you?
To some extent, I appreciate that Fordham did that, and but overall, I think it's up to groups like campus reform and people such as myself to continue to fight, because in reality, conservatives on college campuses are treated as second-class students, and we need to rise up and really fight for our rights, especially our God-given right to free speech. It's endowed to us by our Creator, and we have every right to, as Americans, to express this.
And isn't that part of the reason students go to college, young people go to college, to be open to different and varying viewpoints, to learn from each other? It seems that is not happening these days more and more.
No, absolutely. I think you're right. And it seems as if the loudest voices are the most radical, especially when it comes to the far left.
He's right. The people at these universities, they're not all crazy. All right, this guy is going to get a good education. That's what he's wanting to do. But this is at Fordham University. And it's going to be a little bit more liberal. It's going to be a little bit wacky here and there. But if you are that triggered by a Make America Great Again hat, you probably shouldn't be, in public. All right? If you can't handle a sign that says, hey, I want to make America great again, and if you automatically see that and think evil, right-wing fascism, you probably shouldn't even be in college, because you're not mentally capable of handling new information. That's what a university is supposed to do. It's supposed to challenge you to think. It's supposed to challenge you to articulate yourself. It is supposed to get you to a greater level of understanding. And these students clearly can't. They clearly have no ability to really get above room temperature IQ. So what's going on? Why does this keep happening? Well, I'll tell you. It's not because these college campuses are all crazy. No, that's sort of always been the case. It's always been a hotbed for crazy because you have kids that are still trying to deal with their teenage hormones. You're going to get this kind of stuff. No, this is happening in our education system before they get to college, all right? This is happening in their curriculums even as young as elementary school. Hey y'all, I'm not exactly looking at retirement anytime soon, but my parents are, and friends of my parents are, and I'm sure either you or someone you know is looking at retirement and wondering, what do I do? How do I help prepare for this in this economy with this terrible president and with a vice president who basically coup d'etat him and is now looking to run for president herself? How do you protect against this? Well, simple. You go over to my friends at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have something called the Retirement Package Plan. This plan backs your wealth with gold and silver accounts. And furthermore, you will have direct access to these accounts. So you're not at the whims of Wall Street. You're not at the whims of inflation. You are in command of your own destiny. As a bonus, qualified applicants can receive up to $10,000 in free silver, plus a couple of other little goodies that they're going to package up for you, and you're going to be able to protect your wealth and your retirement. So go over to this link in the description below at colonialmetalsgroup.com or call this number 800-203-0422 and see how they can help you prepare for retirement today by backing your account with gold and silver. Don't delay your retirement, folks. Protect the money that you earned with Colonial Metals Group. They're here to help. And then they go online, they get on Tumblr and they get on Reddit, and they are just bombarded by the insanity that are those mentally broken, brain-rotted people. Most people on those platforms are nuts, all right? I left those a long time ago because I realized, wait a minute, this stuff is cringe. This stuff is just awful. The amount of garbage that kids are getting into because of an unfettered internet is becoming a problem. So these kids are being primed. Arguably, they're being groomed. I just did a video about this when it was revealed that yet another very weird sexualized drag show happened at a public education school. And so kids are being primed for this, and it has to stop. So, to tie this back into this coffee shop, good for Fordham. They're looking into the situation, but I can almost guarantee you what happens nearly every time a university or college campus looks into incidents like this. It's kind of like policemen at a baseball game or a football game. They usually end up kicking out the wrong person who didn't start the fight. Yes, I know that's a Family Guy joke, but the reality is these universities are more likely to punish the students who were wearing these MAGA hats, and this student, Aaron, who was apparently just wearing a USA flag hat. He was getting harassed for daring to have a patriotic symbol on his person. What's probably going to happen is Fordham's going to punish the students wearing the MAGA hats instead of the students that kicked them out of the coffee shop to begin with. That's what's usually going to end up happening. And that's because our education system is usually run by the same people who work at the DMV. They're usually incompetent, bored people who have no other skills other than to be an administrator working off the teat of the federal government, which has just bloated our education system at the college level to an extent that someday that bubble's going to pop. And I'm going to be laughing when it happens. About half my family have been educators, and they have loathed the public school system since the early 2000s. They saw the writing on the wall. They got me and my sister out, and then they made their own education systems themselves. I'm personally a big fan of a homeschool model or a university model, which is what I went to at Cornerstone, the school that arguably gave me a better education in high school than I got in college. That was sad. But that worked very well for me. We need an education system that is catered to the student, not the other way around. We've got a long way to go on that front. And then we have to deal with people that can't handle Make America Great Again because they think that means fascism. And this is how a liberal mind thinks. So if you are in a safe space that says, don't be racist, don't be mean, don't make assumptions about people, it's okay to be gay here, And if you get kicked out of there, why, you must have broken one of these policies. I mean, that is a logical explanation, right? Yes, but that's also a midwit explanation. These people assume that a MAGA hat means you're a fascist. Now, you know what a fascist actually is? Okay? A fascist is someone who believes that everything's within the state, nothing's outside of the state. It's often very nationalistic. There are multiple routes. There are multiple ways to make this work. It was originally a major criticism of Marxist structures because they realized that no, owning private property is actually a smart thing. So it's often that you see these safe spaces, these liberals with this power trip, they look at conservatives and immediately see the projection of their own worst fears, even though they're the ones running around acting like jackbooted thugs, having power trips, and then kicking out people for wearing a hat that says, I want to make America great again. All because they assume the worst they can possibly assume with MAGA. Which, by the way, most of that is false. Remember, and ultimately, it's the iron law of woke projection. These people ultimately see the worst of themselves in conservatives, ironically enough, and that's usually the best of conservatives. And then these flaky woke liberals will just go on a rampage. They can't handle it. I mean, to quote a few good men, you can't handle the truth. And they really just can't. It's a sad thing to see that you are in a college environment and you are incapable of processing new information. Ultimately, you probably shouldn't be out in public. You need to be back home somewhere, protected by your family, because you can't handle the world around you. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Political. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, and until then, y'all have a good one.